Good morning. We're here with Senior Master Sergeant Brian Williams from the 341st Training Squadron. He's the superintendent here, and he's also the 2019 Warrior Games co-captain. How are you doing today, Brian?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's good to come across town and have a chance to sit down and chat with you.
I definitely appreciate you taking the time to come out.
So, co-captain. So, this is the first time you've captained the Warrior Games team, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but you had a buddy of yours that did it before.
I did, and lived curiously through him and saw how he operated, and definitely a good fit for that year.
Yeah.
And it's an honor to be selected to do that and hopefully bring the same level of leadership and intensity that he brought.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty good game this year. How do you feel about the team overall?
Real new and fresh, but that's not a bad thing at all. They're really hungry and motivated. And from everything I've seen, they're ready to go, and I'm ready to go out there with them.
Mm-hmm. So, Warrior Games it's a spectacle. It's a big competition, but at the end of the day, it's really about adaptive sports, and it's kind of highlighting adaptive sports and its role in recovery and resiliency. It's also about the programs that the individual services had. What has adaptive sports done for you in your recovery?
I mean, for me, just the small background for me was when I was in the hospital, Warrior Games was still relatively new, but it was being done. And I just remember reading about it one or two games while I was in the hospital, and I was trying to figure out why I wasn't going to getting the invite. No one was talking to me about it, but I was reading about it, so it was there. Mm-hmm. So I knew it was a goal of mine eventually to get there. And going through my recovery process, everyone's recovery process was different. I didn't want no part of adaptive sports until I was medically cleared, fit for duty, figured out my career path first. Once that was all said and done, I got the phone call and started that Warrior Games journey. And it's definitely something different because up until then it was work, school, taking care of the wife and dog, beating up little kids on Madden. That's really all I did. So now this just took away from my Madden time, and I'm sure all the children of the world appreciate that. And it's given me something else to focus on and to do. Mm-hmm. And they're outside of basketball, because that's all I really wanted to do was wheelchair basketball. Archery was something that was giving me a tool to do and to use. And if it wasn't for Air Force Wounded Warrior Games in particular, I never would have picked up a bow mm-hmm. and figured out that I actually like doing that. Yeah. So it's definitely another outsource of energy and focus that, you really can't buy that.
Yeah. So we'll get back a little bit to the sports that you like, because I want to touch on that. But
okay.
But I remember meeting you for the very first time in 2015. You stepped off the plane there at Eglin, at Fort Walton Beach at the Valparaiso Airport, and you were definitely in a different headspace than you are now.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
It was. I remember that whole thing vividly. I like to talk about it. I like to laugh about it at this point. Even after the week at the CARE event, and just where I was when I showed up at the airport to where I was after that week of being there.
Yeah.
So no,
Well, what I do remember most though is how you went out to field. I think it was field where immediately there was the idea that you were competitive. I mean, nobody knew you beyond the story mm-hmm. of what had happened to you and your journey to return to active duty. But it was when you went out on the field and you threw shot put for the first time, or discus, I believe, for the first time, and it was that aha moment. So do you remember what it was like being told that we would like to bring you onto the team? Because we had already selected the team.
Yes.
So what was it like getting told back in 2015?
That was, as a child, I always had visions of, doing sports and going collegiate and, hoop dreams like everybody else. That was it at that point in time, because I literally was just at an intro camp. There was a vacancy, and I was literally a one-for-one swap, because based on the classification, the injury, the sports the individual was doing, life happened. He wasn't coming back. And they asked if I'd be interested, so I just had to call my boss. And I'm not talking about Air Force, I'm talking about my wife, because I had already been gone for a week.
Yeah.
You know, she's at home keeping things going at home. It was like, would you mind if I stay back for another week? They want me to train with the team and be part of the games, which was like in a month, 2 months later.
Mm-hmm.
And she had no problems doing that, and she's been really supportive. I mean, because what's funny is a lot of these training camps, especially volleyball, it always seems to happen around our anniversary. And
That's just so you know, that's not our fault.
It's not. But that's how supportive my wife is. I'm talking the first anniversary. She had no complaints. I mean, I told her, so the week after we'll do something. We'll still treat our anniversary the way we're supposed to. But she knew how important it was, and she was just overly supportive over that. So just getting called up like that, that was really cool. And then, of course, you know, Ben Sequel was coming up as well. Mm-hmm. So when he showed up, it was just, I don't know, it was a great treat, great honor. And I do remember that vividly because that doesn't happen often.
Mm-hmm. How does it feel for you, all these years later, after doing this, to continue to represent the Air Force, not only in uniform, but at the Warrior Games and Department of Defense level?
People ask why I keep coming back. It's an honor. I'm going to continue to do it until, one, I'm asked not to, or two, I'm not active duty and maybe I transition to something else and I don't have the time to. I mean, right now I can do it. My unit's always been supportive of me doing it, so I'm going to continue to do it. So to do it for a 5th year in a row, I don't think I want to say it's unprecedented, but I don't know anybody else that can say they did that.
No.
So
I would classify that. I think unprecedented is a pretty good word.
This year was just a little different. I know we're not talking about me and Ben, but the fact that he wasn't here, a lot of my supporting cast and crew that I've met through the years is gone. So we talked about the new personnel. There's just a lot of new personnel. Mm-hmm. So it took me out of my comfort zone. Even at trials, I didn't really know how to operate at first because my sidekick, the person I turned to if things are good, bad, and different, wasn't there. So it made me turn to other people, and I feel like it actually helped a lot though too, because it took me out of that safe space.
Yeah, so it made you, so it added a new tool to your kit because it's easy to kind of fall back on the same tools.
It did, and I just actually at the end of the day, at the end of trials, actually felt a whole lot better for it. So.
Good. Rumors going around that one of the things you're most excited for at Warrior Games this year is tennis.
Yes.
Tennis.
Yes.
Brian Williams and tennis. What is it about tennis that you enjoy?
So when I did it at Invictus, I did it with my partner Chansfield, and I guess personality-wise, we're almost polar opposites. I'm a little bit more loud and rambunctious than I believe he comes off as, but he was a great partner and someone I really enjoyed working with. I just wanted to do it again. That was the best part for Invictus, was doing tennis. So the fact that Warrior Games doing it, I was really pumped about doing that. It was just a matter of who am I going to get partnered up with, and luckily the coaches were nice enough to give me a partner I'm looking forward to working with. And everyone doesn't, for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe I don't have the stereotypical look about being a tennis player, but I really just enjoy doing that. It's just,
well, yes. I think it is because in adaptive sports, we have to, it's not have to, I don't think is the right word, but we adapt to individuals' points in their recovery. So I think with tennis, if you've never seen it, wheelchair tennis automatically sounds like it would be a lot slower and not as exciting. But from what I saw at Invictus, it's a really exciting game.
It's real exciting. So exciting, I was telling people to shut up in the crowd, which I don't know. I thought at one point I was telling my wife to be quiet. I guess I told somebody's mother to be quiet, which was kind of embarrassing. But they were just too loud. It was like I wasn't trying to get docked points. I mean, if I'm not getting docked points from my mouth, I'm not gonna let the crowd get me docked points either. Like no. It's crazy.
Yesterday we had a meeting. We were talking about this. Marcia Gonzalez, the branch chief for the Air Force Wounded Warrior Program, she made it very clear that we are going into Tampa to to defend our title from last year. We had the most medals of any one of the services. So what do you think our odds are of defending our title in Tampa?
I think they're substantially high. It's just the way that we do business as the Air Force, being the younger service out of all of them. You know, we just have a new way of thinking about doing things. The other guys, I don't know, they have old ways of doing things. We're fine. We're constantly bringing fresh faces in. The first year I did it, a bunch of new faces. The next year, it's always been like 50% like new people, and we've built it upon that. I think we're gonna be fine. I've seen what most of our guys are bringing to the table in sports that I'm not even participating in, and I would endorse what they're doing. I see what they're doing with social media, and they're not social media warriors. They're out there actually putting in the work and the effort. So I can't wait to see them out there on the track, running and the pool swimming. Like even who the sport captains are. When they announced that, I said, all that seems logical. I said, this team's being built on something. So go do some work to take that title in Tampa. I mean, that's what we're gonna do. I ain't worried about it.
All right, Brian. Well, I thank you for taking time out of your day. I know you're a busy man getting ready for Warrior Games, and you know, still at work and everything. So thank you for taking time, and we look forward to seeing you in Tampa in a couple of weeks.
No, I appreciate you guys taking the time out to come visit me.